when you do these State of the City addresses, it's really about what is my perspective on the status of the city. And I think in order to understand my perspective, you have to understand my journey into politics. So I went to school right here in this building, Elyria High, and So when I was here at Elyria High, I was the freshman class president here. We had over 700 students here. I was a 4.0 student, and I worked at an organization called Save Our Children. Hopefully those folks will be joining us shortly. So I went to school here, graduated from here, and then by the time end of 2005 into 2006, I was a community college dropout. I had a 0.7 grade point average, and I was broke and I was lost, trying to figure life out. And one of my burning questions for myself was, how the hell did I go from this to that? What happened? And I really did a lot of self-reflection on decisions I made, on opportunities I had. You know, I thought because I had this great GPA that somehow, you know, some college would find me like an athlete and give me a scholarship and I would be moving away and going to college, and that never happened. Just really did a lot of introspection. Many of you know, part of my story is, getting involved in church. I surprised my mom for Mother's Day at church, saw how happy it made her, started to follow her to church every Sunday, gave my life to the Lord, was baptized in 2006 in August, and really got on this straight and narrow path of trying to figure out my purpose in life. And one of those things that it led me to was joining a project called the Katrina Leadership Project, where it was a faith-based trip that was based on the teachings of Martin Luther King, and we went to New Orleans in spring break of 2007. And I'll show you what it looked like when we went. So if you remember, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans in August of 2005. So here we were almost 18 months after that, steel cars on top of houses, neighborhoods that hadn't been touched. And one thing that our mentor who took us on that trip said is, he said, there's neighborhoods just like this in Elyria and Lorraine. They just haven't been hit by a storm. And it really made me think about our city in terms of the neglected neighborhoods, years of disinvestment, people being left behind. And when we think about Elyria, I guess one of the questions I have for you all is, what neighborhoods do we feel like in the city are being neglected? Who's being left behind in the city of Elyria? Where are we not investing in our city? And it was through that purview that when I got back home from that trip in spring break, that I utilized my talents and my skills and got on an educational pathway to really change that dynamic. So I was a computer instructor, so I'm always excited when I see my computer students here. Because again, this is a place where people get left behind. It's access to technology and digital communications. So I was a computer teacher for the community college and some of my students. Some of them have passed on. This was my former Spanish teacher, Mr. Sieber, who has passed on. But we've had so many students. One of my other students actually turned 100 while I was in office. I got a chance to visit her over in the senior living facility she lives in. So that's been a full circle moment. We did these community gardens in the community. So one of the things I realized is there was a lot of young people, and particularly young African-American males, who lacked mentorship, lacked guidance, and they needed to be put on a different path. So me and a couple of friends in college started this project called Eden Vision, where we grew food. And we had 4 different farms in the city of Elyria. We grew food, taught them about faith and entrepreneurship. That farm you see there is in Wilkes Villa, and I believe that garden is still there in Wilkes Villa to this day, and that was back in 2008. So that was one piece, and then you see my daughter and myself here doing job fairs. So connecting people to job opportunities is always, and Mr. Baxter worked with me on a lot of that job stuff at the Urban League. And all of this has a consistent theme of people not being left behind and making sure that we're not leaving anyone behind and everyone grows together. And that's a part of my philosophy as the leader of the city. So this quote by James Baldwin is one that it really shapes the way that I think you could summarize my time as mayor over these past 3.5 years. The quote, as you can read, says, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." And I feel like as an administration, and I think one thing I hope that you all keep with you all, no matter who's in this seat in the future, is that there's an expectation for your mayor, your city leader, to be facing the challenges that the city is facing and not hiding and being on the front lines ready to address those issues. So some of those things, as I mentioned, was the digital access. We've stood up computer classes for our residents. So right now, any resident is available. They can take computer classes through Goodwill, and we encourage people to sign up for those classes, free computer classes. And we can make sure you get the phone, or you go on ElyriaCares.com, you go on our website, it's there, or you can just call Goodwill of Lorain County. Food insecurity, as you know, that was a big issue during the pandemic. We had a lot of people who were food insecure, so we were on the front lines of that, passing out food. If you ever came over to City Hall, you saw people lined up in cars around picking up food, making sure people had food. Seniors being isolated was something that we addressed with the We Care initiative, where we delivered food to seniors throughout the time. Utility bills, we not only suspended the cutoff of utility bills during the pandemic, but we also have been working to make sure we keep utility bills low. So you'll be seeing something this year on that. The birthing center, Bendix, reentry, building police and community relations, the boredom in the city, every single issue that we've seen in the city, we've tried to face. And I can't say that every one of these has been successful. If you think about the birthing center, that was one that really broke my heart, where, that was the most engagement I've had during my entire time as mayor. I've never had that many letters, that many people engaged, that many people showing up to voice and protest. I've never had that experience since then, and they still made the decision to move. So every battle hasn't been won, but I think the expectation should always be your mayor is going to fight the battle. So the reality about where we are right now as a country is that America is angry, and they have some good reasons to be angry. But my challenge to us as a city, so here's some of the reasons why people are angry. Your costs are going up. We got a potential world war that we're on the brink of. You have, politicians who are being more self-obsessed, kind of going wherever the wind blows versus being community-focused and resident-centered. And then you see help wanted signs all over the place, but people aren't interested in. So we're in a very weird place right now as a society. But we can't lose sight on the assets that we have and the progress that we're making in the city in general. So some of the things that you've experienced, that, we started a new community development corporation to create a vehicle in which community members could help lead the change in our community. That was a part of the Third Thursdays that we do downtown in the square to kind of reactivate the square on a regular basis, make sure people are enjoying the city. I'm going to get a little bit more into that as well. And then also creating an organization that could focus on downtown. As you know, downtown is a very tricky puzzle to fix because the city has very little control over private property owners. So we have to find creative ways to incentivize them to invest. And we're fortunate that we have some of the big projects like the eSports Center that's getting built downtown, where you have Mr. Flanagan investing his own money and betting on downtown. And we're hopeful that other entrepreneurs will do the same. The Skill City project, which again is something I'm going to get into a little bit more, something to be proud of. The parks development, the millions of dollars that have gone into infrastructure, including roads. We'll get into that a little later as well. So we have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot to build off of. But trust me, I'm not content. I do not think we have arrived as a city. We have so much further to go. But I do think we can't lose sight on the progress that's been made. So the Skill City Initiative, I think, is one of the things I'm most proud of. This is a partnership with Lorain County Community College where any resident in the city of Elyria can go to LCC for free. So if you're pursuing an in-demand career, you can get that credential from LCC for free. And we need more people to take advantage of this. This is a life changer and a game changer, and we want residents to take advantage of that. So you can go on the website, cityofelyria.org/skillcity, and there's a list of the eligible pathways, and all of the pathways, I'm sorry, some of the pathways aren't like pottery and things like that. I apologize. It's really based upon where are the in-demand jobs that are paying a good wage, and we'll help get you on that path. But one of my big projects that I didn't talk about at the last State of the City, because it was more of a business community, but it's more relevant to this group, is this Ely Life project. And like you see, I got my Ely Life shirt on. And Ely Life is an acronym, and we'll talk about that acronym. But one thing I noticed was that people need to be shown how to have a good time here in the city of Elyria. And there's so many things that we have in our city, but only a select few utilize them. So a part of what we wanted to do is showcase what we have in the city and show people how to utilize the assets that are within our city. So the acronym is leisure, inspiration, fitness, and entertainment. The leisure aspect is showcasing what are the leisure opportunities within our city, the dining opportunities, the opportunities to have some fun, hang out, walk around. The inspirational opportunities are groups like the Arts Council or the Rotary that are doing service projects or arts projects that really inspire the community. The fitness opportunities we have through our Parks and Rec and through folks like Toad Fitness and others who are doing fitness. And then the events that we have, you know, those perennial events like the Apple Festival, but also things like Third Thursday. So really making sure we're showcasing those things and engaging people and taking advantage of them. So, you know, since I've been in office, we built the new trail at South. I hope you all, how many of y'all have been to the trail at South? Maybe 4 hands went up in terms of being on that trail. We got to change that. So make one of your goals between now and the end of the year to visit the South Park Trail. It's a beautiful trail, very scenic, very peaceful walk. You can bring your dog, you can ride your bike, you can push a stroller, whatever you want to do, but make sure you check that out. And then this year we're also building a new trail at West Park. And why is a trail important? Because this is how your day is spent. You know, when you're sitting at home and you're like, all right, house is clean, what's next to do? My wife and I, we say, all right, let's go out to the park. Let's go for a walk. Let's go get outdoors. Let's get that fresh air. You know, let's meet someone else at the park and do a walk and talk at the park. So that park, that amenity is so important to just the quality of life here and enjoying life. So you have that at South, you have a trail at East, and then you'll have one at West this upcoming year. And then the other piece of the leisure is the restaurants. So enjoying our restaurants, our legacy restaurants like Wolfie's, like Smitty's, like Foundry, like the Valley of the Eagles, some of these legacy businesses that we have, Hazel's, encouraging people to support their local restaurants. The inspiration, as I mentioned, groups like Rotary and the Arts Council, you know, getting involved and being more aware of what's going on there. The fitness opportunities, we have a program called TAPS, the Active People Program, and it's for seniors working out, I believe Monday through Friday. And you can, and our Parks and Rec folks will speak to that later on, but there's opportunities for you to be around other folks who are working out and enjoying their time, and we want folks to take advantage of it. And then as I mentioned, the events. So the Third Thursdays has been a big hit. The Elyria Community Partnership has really been leading that effort, but we have the legacy events like the Apple Festival that people don't miss, but we want people to start to really engage in these events and enjoy the city. So that's that quality of life piece that we've really focused on as an administration, especially coming out of the pandemic where we were all shut in and isolated. We feel like this is a big piece to the puzzle. Another reason why this is a big piece to the puzzle is when we're talking about economic development. I was on a call earlier with a company that's in the chip manufacturing space, and they're in the city of Elyria, and we're talking about expanding in the city of Elyria. And I'll be honest with you, part of the conversation was he has to try to attract engineers to Elyria. And he's saying, okay, what is your business case for why not Chicago, why Elyria? What is your value prop? And this is the type of stuff. And I think it's important for our residents to be able to say, hey, here's how you can enjoy life here in the city of Elyria and be proud of that so that when guests come, they say, hey, you know, not only can I enjoy Elyria, but I can go over to West Side Market on a day drive. I can go other places. I'm in a really centrally located location, but we need our community to kind of raise their voice and be proud of the amenities we do have. But the only way you can be proud of them is if you're utilizing them. So we need y'all to utilize them. So in 2023, in 2023, we have some major infrastructure projects happening. Again, our city engineers here, as you know, we're redoing Broad Street. That is going to be 3 lanes. It's going to be resurfaced. It's been a project been talked about for 40 years plus. Now it's actually going to be happening. We got some grant funds for that. Cleveland Street is happening as well, East Side Sewer Relief. And this year we will have the most resources going into road resurfacing that we've had in 10 years. So I know the orange barrels are frustrating. Trust me, it has changed my whole dynamic driving my kids to school. My kid has been late to school every day the past week. because I don't know. Every time I get ready to go down Cleveland Street, it's like a new detour, a new way to figure it out. But I understand these are growing pains. You know, we've said for years, hey, one of the things we're going to do later here is play some Mario Kart, because I want to show you something. But it's like playing Mario Kart in the city sometimes with the potholes. And so we want to make sure that's another quality of life piece. When we meet with companies, when we got a chance to meet with Ridge Tool and we were talking about them expanding in the city, part of the conversation was how long it takes for their employees to get up and down Broad Street and the rocky road that is, and how their employees don't like that. Like there's implications for us not doing this. And I think it's important that we, I don't even want to say patient. I think it's a little bit of sacrifice that we have to do. You know, it's a little bit of a frustration. I know I'm experiencing it, but if we can keep the long game in mind that, hey, we're doing this so that our city is more vibrant for the future. And then some other things in 2023, one of the things I don't have up here I want to mention before I forget, we have created a new platform for you all to submit complaints, reports, and praise to city employees or things you want to see in the city. And that's cityofelyria.org/311. And there will be a button on the homepage, but if you put cityofelyria.org/311, it'll take you to a page so that your issues can be addressed. We want to get out of the age of trying to manage the city through Facebook comments. That's not the way to efficiently run an organization. So we created this platform for folks to be able to submit their comments, and then we'll make sure they get forwarded to the appropriate department, and they can act on your request as well as praise. If you see somebody doing something great, you can drop it in there, and we can make sure that staff person gets acknowledged. So that's one piece. The other piece is this home beautification program, and this is the pilot phase of this program. But this is something I'm really excited about. Worked with this with Councilman Oswald on this initiative. And this is a response to, we put a lot of money into downtown businesses, improving their facades or renovating their buildings, but we weren't putting that sort of resource into families and residents. So our city engineer talked about, they had a program in Sandusky where she used to work. We talked with Councilman Oswald, and we've created this home beautification program we're calling Spruce Up, where will be grants up to $5,000 for residents to use for painting, siding, landscaping, driveways, sidewalks, you know, to really spruce up your homes here in the city of Elyria. The first round, the criteria of eligibility is a certain percentage of the poverty level. You have to meet an income threshold or live inside of a qualified census tract, which in essence is most of the south side and west side of town. You're automatically financially eligible. And then you can also, if you don't live in those neighborhoods, you can qualify through your income. Our goal is to learn through this pilot and eventually expand this program out to be eligible for more residents and more residents as time goes on. As I mentioned, the utility assistance program. So currently I'm working with Councilwoman Davis on this utility assistance program. Again, working with engineering on this as well, where we want to put together a program, especially for our seniors who are on fixed income, as we are dealing with these unfunded mandates from the EPA. We have to do $200 million worth of work in 20 years, and we're not receiving any funding for it. So the only way to do it is raise rates, and that's why we're trying to get grants so we don't have to keep doing that. But in the meantime, we don't want to put that on the shoulders of seniors who are on fixed income. So we're creating a program to provide assistance to our seniors so they won't have to carry that burden and try to ease that burden for them. As I mentioned, road repairs, you know, so again, when people ask me, when is this thing going to stop? I'll be honest with you, it's going to be a while because there's a lot of work to be done. And then, as you know, in Ohio, we don't get a big construction season, so we got to nail it while we can. But, you know, I hope you are enjoying the roads once they are done. You know, when I drive up and down Oberlin, Elyria Road now, or I'm driving on Fuller Road now, or, you know, just pick a road that's happening right now, and Kathy will speak to those roads. You know, I think I appreciate once it's done. I hate it while it's going on. I'm like, man, this is super fun. But once it's done, I'm like, all right, this ain't too bad. So it'll be similar with this year. We have a lot more road work to happen. We're going to be continue to increase recreation programs. We know with our children being shut in They lost a lot of social skills. They're dealing with a lot of issues that they need to be out and about, being active, especially physically active. So we're going to be and socially active, interacting with each other face to face. So we're increasing our rec programs. Our program manager, Brandon Lawler, is here. He'll speak a little bit about those programs shortly. And there will be more park development. Again, we want to keep investing in our parks so that people can enjoy the outdoors in our city. We have amazing natural resources between Cascade Park and the Falls. And, you know, we need our residents to take advantage of those things. So our plan is for your priorities. Our city right now, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, we're in the strongest financial position we've been in 20 years, at least 20 years. You could say 30, 40 years, but the strongest financial position we've been in 20, 30 years. And, you know, I think it's a testament to the work that's done, how hard people work with less in the city. But we have a moment right now where we need your voices to be loud, because this money is going to get spent either way. And our preference is that the money is spent on long-term investments that will have a return on investment. Our preference that we've heard from you all, you want to see downtown look better, you feel like it's run down, you want to see that, so we want to put more money into that. You want to see the mall turned around, so we believe we should, you know, continue to invest in economic development. Dawn Calvert's here, who has done an amazing job helping to not only rezone the mall so that we could get industry at the mall versus retail, but also helping us to get a singular ownership. And that took a lot of work, and I got to give her kudos for her leadership in helping to make that happen, because now the mall is in a very strong position to be able to get someone to buy it and rebuild it. They don't have to negotiate with 3-4 people. They'll negotiate with one source, the Lorain County Port Authority, and they can get this thing rolling and going. And that took a lot of work behind the scenes to make that happen. So that's the moment we're in right now. And I think if we're going to see something different than the status quo, it's only going to come from your input. Because, you know, we did the survey back in 2021 when we first got ARPA funds and asked people where they wanted the funds to go. And we took that feedback and we acted on it. And things have changed since 2001. So we need to re-engage you all and ask that question again in terms of, where would you like to see these resources go? What is the priorities that you have as residents in the city of Elyria? So that it's not a small group of people making the decision. It's your voices being the loudest voice in the room versus a small group of folks who may be not hearing what you want and desire. So one thing I'm asking of all of you is stay engaged. You know, follow us on our social media platforms, sign up for the newsletter, and get connected with us as a city. Show up to the city council meetings, show up to the committee meetings, which is where the real business is done. Show up to the committee meetings, voice your opinion on things. And this middle quote is really, when we talk about this whole concept of we Elyria that we believe in and that we aspire to, it's really the premise of, like, you can't wait for the city. And I see my buddy Mitch here from the city of Lorain. And when we think about what happened downtown Lorain, there was very little that the government did for that turnaround downtown Lorain. There were private investors, there was community people, it was Speak of the Devil, it was the Firefish Festival, it was you know, community folks coming together saying, hey, we're going to bet on downtown. It was the aerial investors that were saying, hey, we're going to buy this big hotel and rebuild. And so that's what it's going to take here in the city of Elyria. And as long as I'm in this seat as mayor, I'm going to continue to put wind in your sails and put fire into the system. So as you try to do things, we'll match. That's why we created the downtown rehab program. That for every dollar you put in, we'll put in the same amount, up to $50,000. Same with the facade program. Same with the demo. We want to make sure we're supporting people as they're taking these bets. But we need our residents to step up and take these bets. And then I need you to, last thing I'll say is I need you to raise your voice. We cannot allow this city to be defined by cynics. You know, somebody came up to me earlier about these Facebook comments. You know, there's a lot of misinformation that happens online. And it can lead to a lot of problems for communities, societies, etc. if it's not put in check and facts aren't given out. But aside from that, it can also set a tone for the city. And we need to make sure that those folks aren't setting the tone for the city. Because a lot of times when people are wondering, should I do business in Elyria? Should I come to Elyria? We actually had a business we met with recently in the office, and he said he had asked some people through Facebook, should he open a business in Elyria? And all the no, stay away. And it was from Elyria folks. And it's like we're hurting ourselves by doing this. And by empowering people like that and listening to people like that, we're hurting ourselves. So we need our residents to raise their voice, be proud of the assets. You're from Elyria, I'm from Elyria. I know I'm not trash. I know I'm good ground. I know I'm worth something. So I need y'all to feel the same way. Elyria residents can run laps. I'll share this, and I mean this. So not just in sports when you think about the Tiana Madisons of the world or, Chase Ferris, Super Bowl champ and all this, not just the athletic side of things. We think about folks like Chief Pernesti, who's teaching people all around the nation around fire safety. Is that correct? When you think about Sam Jacob, our water pumping leader, he's teaching people all around the state around this water issue. It's no accident I was invited to the White House. Not every mayor was invited to the White House. So we're not small pickings here. We need to, again, stick our chest out, be proud of who we are as a city, and realize the path to success doesn't need to be, you don't need to tear someone down to be built up. One of the things when I ran for mayor, you cannot find 3 quotes of me talking bad about my opponents. I did not need to tear them down to build myself up. I was confident in who I was. And I think it's the same for the city of Elyria. We don't need to tear another community down or tear ourselves down. We have enough good stuff going for ourselves. And we just need to start to capitalize on those assets and raise our voice on them and be proud of where we're from and start to use our gifts here for the city of Elyria.